Hello, and welcome to Let My People Eat, a podcast that provides satisfying talk about kosher nutrition. Here we clear through the clutter of nutrition speak, arm you with the clarity and confidence to eat, feel, and be your healthiest every day. I am Jill Scharfman, a board-certified holistic nutritionist living in Los Angeles, and with me is Dr. Andrea Moskowitz.
Hi, I'm Dr. Andrea Moskowitz, and I'm a neuroscientist and psychiatrist. I use my training and experience to integrate positive lifestyle changes into my patients' lives.
This week we will discuss how do you keep your energy levels up during the day? What is the most important meal? And we will provide you with some quick and easy breakfast options. Okay, Andrea, it is time for how do you keep your energy levels high throughout the day?
Right. Well, for some of us, this is going to be how do we get them up there in the first place? So this is an area that a lot of people complain about and ask about, like, how can I get my energy better? How can I keep it? And how can I have more energy for the things I want to do? So we're going to be giving you quite a few tips right now on ways to improve your energy. Don't expect you to use all of them at one time. We'll revisit many of them later in later podcasts. But until then, you can pick and choose some of them, try them out, see what works, what doesn't. So I was thinking about what are the basic building blocks for improving it, for keeping your energy good.
Right.
And improving it.
Because that's the number one complaint I hear from my friends and my family. It's always, every conversation starts, oh, I'm so tired. And it's hard to get things done and do them with a smile on your face when you're so tired.
Exactly. And it sometimes also it causes you to do other things to help make yourself feel more energetic that are not in your best interest.
Right.
For your health.
Yeah. You don't
like eating the wrong things.
Right. You don't want to do self-care. You don't want to make good food choices. You want to take the easier option when you are so tired.
Right. Exactly. So some of the basic building blocks for improving energy are sleep, having a balanced diet, exercise, cutting down on multitasking, and doing things you enjoy or that you make enjoyable, which is actually, I think, even more important.
Right.
So I'm going to go through these briefly.
And for me, I would add sunlight.
And sunlight.
Sunlight is very important for me, and it's good. I live in Southern California because we have an abundance of sunlight, and that definitely helps my energy levels.
Right. We don't know what you're going to do in Seattle. But okay. So let's start with sleep. Okay. So I think most of us kind of know this, although we might not want to believe it. The average adult needs about 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. Mm-hmm. Really? Okay. All of you can stop laughing about this. This is really true. Okay. But just as important also as the quantity is the quality. So I'm going to be giving you some sleep hygiene tips that can help.
Okay.
So the first one is something that many of us have done with our kids, but somehow we just don't think it applies to us anymore, which is to try to have a restful routine just prior to going to bed. So most of us cannot just jump into bed, close our eyes, turn our brains off, and fall asleep.
Right.
Okay. So it's nice to have some sort of little routine. That can be different things for different people. Personally, before I kind of like wash my face and do all that, I have a cup of chamomile lavender tea and a little snack and read a little bit. And then when I get into bed, I have a book there,
right,
which is sort of like a joke because I'll read like maybe a page and then I'm ready to fall asleep. But read for a while. And I'll get to what you shouldn't do before you go
right.
Before you
I mean, that sounds
lovely.
Also. And that's like what you said, something we do with our kids. Our kids, we give them a warm bath. We get them into the pajamas. They brush their teeth. We read them a story. We say Shema before they go to bed. They have a routine, and they know when that routine begins that they are preparing to go to sleep. They may not always be happy about it, but and then we seem to lose that as we get older.
Right. And, different things work for different people. And I was just thinking when you were saying that, many of us, me included, I really do not have time for a 25-minute bath at the end of the day. I wish I did, but I don't.
Right.
But, one thing you can do is you can get like a little lavender oil or a little lavender spray or such. And you can put it, and you can do a foot bath for yourself, actually,
Right.
for like 10 minutes, which is, much less work.
Right.
And that's also very relaxing.
Right.
So
and,
there's sort of other things you can do.
Right. And you could be watching TV or working on your, playing Words with Friends on your phone. You could be doing other things while you're doing the foot bath, and it all will help you.
Right. Although
relax.
I want to get off of the phone.
Yes. Yes. You're right. You're right.
So, but you could do a pen and paper crossword or something like that.
Yeah.
Or Sudoku. Or the point is, different things relax different people. So whatever it is, listen to some relaxing music, etc.
Right.
Okay. The other thing is no electronic screen time for an hour before bed. So that's like not looking at your phone, not on a tablet, not on the computer.
Right.
And the reason is because the blue light from the screen, first of all, you're holding it pretty close to yourself.
Right.
So it goes right into your eyes. And our brains make a hormone called melatonin, which we release at night, and it triggers us to go to sleep. The blue light decreases the release of that.
Right. It interferes with it.
It
actually makes us think it's more like daylight.
Right.
And not time to go to bed.
Right. And that's partly why sometimes people have this experience. Like they're really tired and they're, okay, I'm just going to like look at my emails on my computer before I go to sleep. And before they know it, they've got this rush of energy and they're Googling everything and they're doing internet searches and it's like 2 hours later.
Because it wakes up their brain. Good luck getting your teenagers to not be on their computer or their phones before bed.
Right. Well, actually, in our house, when our kids were in middle school and high school, we used to have this rule that at 9 p.m., all of the cell phones went to sleep. And we had all the chargers in the kitchen.
Right.
Because I have a lot of outlets in my kitchen, but wherever it is. And we would put all the phones to sleep.
Okay.
Mine included, my husband's included.
Right.
And
yes, I do leave my phone downstairs in my kitchen at night. It does not come into the bedroom with me.
Yes. So we used to do that. So that was very effective. Okay. So depending on when exactly you go to sleep, but basically no beverages with caffeine after about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's if you have like a regular, regular bedtime.
Right. But otherwise you can have coffee in the morning. It's totally fine and energizing, not to overdo it. You don't do it in excess, but caffeine is a good way to get your brain.
Right. And it has some other health benefits.
Right.
So, okay. The other thing, as much as possible, is to try to have a regular or kind of semi-regular time to fall asleep and wake up. So really, the optimal thing would be that your bedtime every night would be within the same 1 hour, maybe 2 hour block, and the same thing for your wake-up time. What's not useful is to, one night you go to sleep at 9 o'clock and you wake up at 5, and then the next night you go to bed at like 1 a.m.
Right.
And you wake up at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Which happens
all over
on
place.
That happens on the weekends, I'm sure, for a lot of people. And it doesn't really do you well. It takes a few days for you to really get back into your routine and to feel well.
And it affects the quality of the sleep that you are having during that time. The other thing, too, is I know as much as people do like a glass of wine or a drink to relax, for a lot of people that really does interfere with the quality of their sleep.
Right.
Not everybody, but for some people, yes. And so probably it would be better if you're going to have that glass of red wine or drink, it would be better to do it in like the middle of the day, like Shabbos for lunch instead of at the dinner time.
Well, also because you can go take a nap.
Yeah, well, okay, that's another thing. Right?
But yeah, it does help with the mid-afternoon slump
in
a way.
Right. And the last one I have here is that if something's bothering you or is in your, such as like your to-do list for the next day or other chores or things you have to talk to somebody about, whatever, write it down, make a list or do the list on your phone or whatever, and plan out kind of what you're going to do with it before you get into bed. Write the plan down, or notate it, or dictate it into your phone, however you need to do it, so that all of these ideas and things you have to do don't keep circling pointlessly around in your brain.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I do keep pen and paper next to my bed, and sometimes in the middle of the night I'll wake up and I'll write something down, and then I'll
Right.
may
So you
not
can
be
go
able
back to sleep.
may not be able to read it the next morning because it's a bunch of scribble or I've written over other things. But
Right.
yeah, I'm a big fan of getting it out of your brain onto a piece of paper so you can free up that space.
Right. Right. You basically want to dump it out of your immediate memory. Okay. So the next one is healthy eating. We're going to circle back to this. But the bedrock for your healthy eating for the day is breakfast. Yep. It really is the most important meal of the day.
Right.
And a healthy breakfast gives you energy for the morning. It helps set you up for a day of good blood sugar control and good eating choices. And it brings down the chance of your binge eating and eating unhealthy snacks either later in the morning or even throughout the day. And in fact, there have been a couple of studies, I'm not going to go through them too much, but that they've shown that people who didn't eat breakfast had an increased rate of heart disease compared to people who did eat breakfast. Right. So people who did eat breakfast had less of a chance of heart disease.
Right.
And the other thing is, it's very important also it's important for us as adults, and it's important for all the kids and teens in your family. There have been a number of studies that shown that kids who ate breakfast did better at school.
Right. Their cognitive, their problem solving, everything improved.
Their memory, their attention, everything was better when they ate breakfast.
Right.
And that's true for adults too.
Right. And it makes sense because we go to sleep, we haven't eaten for could be 10 hours, 8 hours, whatever it is, and your brain is starving for that energy. And by not eating and not feeding your brain, of course we feel groggy in the morning, or of course we're not fun to talk to when we first wake up because the brain is starving for us to provide it with that energy.
And given that, really the studies are that breakfast should make up about 25% of our daily energy intake. So, Jill, what should a healthy breakfast contain?
Okay, so a healthy breakfast should have a combination of a good protein, some type of complex carbohydrate, and some fat. And believe it or not, before we get into the specifics, by eating breakfast, it helps you with your weight loss or maintaining your weight. It sounds counterintuitive, but it's actually true because, like you mentioned before, it doesn't allow you, it stops that, oh my God, it's lunchtime and I'm absolutely starving, and you eat whatever you can get your hands on. If you start with a good breakfast, you do better as you go through your day. So there are a bunch of good choices. One of my favorites is oatmeal. I like oatmeal because oatmeal has a lot of fiber, which keeps you full for longer during the day and doesn't cause your blood sugars to swing that wildly, and also helps keep you regular in the bathroom, which is always a good thing to have. So I like that. I like adding eggs. Oatmeal, you can take your oatmeal in the morning when you wake up. You can add some hot water, cover it with a plate, let it sit for 5 minutes and cook. So it doesn't take long. You don't imagine yourself with this big vat of oatmeal that you have to cook
stirring constantly.
Right, exactly, in order to have a good breakfast. And with the oatmeal, you can add fresh berries, you can add bananas, you can add dried cranberries, you can add cinnamon. Some people even mix yogurt in.
Nuts.
Nuts. I love oatmeal. I think it's a really great option. If you don't like oatmeal, consider a cold breakfast cereal that has high nutritive value. So it has whole grains in it, not a lot of sugar. Try and keep the sugar content to less than 10 grams for a serving, and check your servings. A lot of breakfast cereals, a serving is a half a cup or 3/4 of a cup. So it's not this huge bowl of cereal. But I also, eggs are a great addition. If you need to add protein, an egg is one of the most biologically perfect foods out there. And when I'm talking about eggs, I'm talking about the whole egg. I'm not talking about egg whites. The egg yolk itself contains something called choline, which is especially important to women. So if you want, you can always have one whole egg. And then if you want to bulk it up, you can add egg whites.
Right.
That's totally fine.
And that increases the protein content.
Yes.
Too, right?
So whole eggs, whole foods is what we always are talking about. You can do hard-boiled eggs. You can do scrambled eggs. You could do soft-boiled eggs. You could do poached eggs. Sunny side out. There are a million options with eggs. If you want to prepare them ahead, I know a great option is a frittata. So what people do is you'll take some oil and you'll stir fry some vegetables, some broccoli, some onions, some garlic. You can even take the vegetables that you cooked from the night before. You mix them in with the eggs, let them cook on the stove for a little bit, and then put them in the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes to finish. Now, some other people will put them in muffin tins.
Right.
So all you have to do is, instead of cutting the frittata, you just pop out one of these egg muffins, and you can take them with you. You can put them on a whole wheat wrap, but that's a really good way to get ahead of the game. Some other options I like are yogurt mixed with granola, and granola is the add-on. It's not the main star. So that's just some sprinkled on top. You can do bread with hummus, whole grain bread, hard-boiled egg whites, protein smoothies. So I'm a big fan of protein smoothies. There are a lot of different ways to get your protein. It could be from whey, it could be from rice or hemp. But I think if you do well with dairy, whey protein is really great. And you can take your blender the night before, put your water, your almond milk, your berries, your whey protein, your almond butter, your banana, your cinnamon, whatever you want to put in there, put it into your blender. And then in the morning, turn it on for 30 seconds and you have a great whole breakfast. I find that's really good with teenagers. When people say to me, oh, my kid doesn't want to eat breakfast in the morning and we're running around and they're always late and rushing. What do? I said, get one of those blender cups, make them smoothies and send them out the door with the smoothie. Because most of them will like a smoothie, whether it's peanut butter chocolate, whether it's vanilla strawberry, usually they'll be able to find something. And because it's something you drink, it's a little bit more palatable to them.
Well, I think that's also because a lot of teenagers wake up at the last possible moment before they have to head out the door. And I don't know about you, but I don't love to eat the first thing I pop out of bed in the morning. It takes me an hour or a little bit longer to get in, to feel like I want to eat. So remember, it's not that they don't want to eat, it's that they've just barely woken up.
Right. Yes, that's right. So that's a really good one. Ezekiel Bread. So Ezekiel Bread is found in most supermarkets. I believe it's in Trader Joe's as well. It's from Ezekiel, where he writes, take also unto thee wheat and barley and beans and lentil and millet and spelt and put them in one vessel and make a bread from it. So Ezekiel Bread is all whole foods, and it's sprouted. Now, sprouted breads release more nutrients. They contribute to good bacteria in your gut. It helps you keep your colon clean. It has antioxidants and potent anti-cancer agents and is more easily digested. So Ezekiel bread is a great option. I need to have it toasted. I like the English muffins too, but I can't just make a sandwich out of just Ezekiel bread. I need to put it in the toaster. So, so definitely breakfast is great to set the tone for the whole day of eating. Don't skip it or take a Pop-Tart type of donut or something like that, because that will throw you off. So not only are you eating the wrong thing for breakfast, but it throws off the rest of your day.
The other thing I also found, which I think I mentioned to you, is these low carb tortillas. They come in a whole wheat. The first ingredient is oat fiber. They're very high in fiber. By the end of subtracting the fiber, you have like 4 grams of carbs, and they have like 9 grams of protein. So you can use them.
So they contribute to the protein.
They contribute to the protein quite a bit,
meal as well.
And you can just put some eggs, some cheese. Sometimes I make like a quesadilla, and it
sounds delicious.
It's delicious.
Throw some vegetables in from the night before.
Again, I would recommend those warmed up too.
Yes,
they taste much better.
Yeah, definitely. And then just throughout the day, I think eating for energy throughout the day. So continue to eat small meals and snacks rather than these 3 big meals all day, just to give your brain that steady supply of nutrients. I think it'd really be helpful.
And speaking about your brain, let's go. I'm going to say a brief word about multitasking. So basically, the take-home message is don't do it. So what I'm talking about here, I'm not talking about like you doing something completely boring and mindless, like folding laundry or putting stuff away to its usual place and you put some music on, or you're washing the dishes, or I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about things like you're talking on the phone with somebody and you're also kind of going through your emails at the same time, that kind of multitasking.
Right. Or helping your kid with their homework, and you're also answering your phone. And
right.
Yes.
Exactly. Right. Where you actually have to think about both things that you're doing.
So what's wrong with multitasking?
Okay.
We all do it.
So we all do it. I'm guilty. I'm trying to do it less now that I did the research on this. So first of all, the thing of it is you think you're getting more done, but when they actually looked at it, you're actually less productive when you take the time, and your attention and memory are worse. The other thing, and this is even more sobering, is that it might actually decrease your overall intelligence.
That we don't need that.
No, we don't need it. And not only that, not just while you're doing several tasks, even afterwards.
So it has effect even once you're done with your multitasking.
Yes.
It continues.
It makes you stupid.
It makes you stupid.
Sorry, not quite, but basically. And then also, you have to use actually more energy than if you did each task separately and added up the amount of energy you needed. So you're using more energy and you're making your brain more tired. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. In terms of exercise, this is just quick. What I'm meaning by exercise here is that we should actually all be more active during the day. We're not made to be just sitting all day. So it benefits our blood circulation and our brain functioning. And really, you don't have to go crazy with this. At least maybe 30 minutes of moderate intensity activity, for example, like a fast walk 5 times a week. And you can even split it up into shorter periods, like 2 15-minute walks a day.
And this helps with your sleep too.
It helps with everything. It helps
your mood,
to control your appetite, your mood, your energy. Right.
Yeah.
And generally speaking, also, a lot of us just sit at a desk all day long. We should really get up every hour and walk around a little bit and stretch and just move.
Right. And it will energize you. I mean, even though you may not want to get up and move, it actually will feel more energized once you do it.
Right. So finally, the last thing quickly is that it's important that every day we do things that we enjoy or that we make them enjoyable. So that doesn't mean you have to go to the spa or get a mani-pedi every day. You can even take things sometimes so it could be something small, reading a poem you like, listening to a piece of music you enjoy.
Or a podcast.
Right? And also, too, a lot of us have tasks and chores during the day that we really don't like to do. So to try to, instead of like, oh no, I have to do that, I have to drag myself through this, even if it's just in your brain, you're saying that, to not whine to ourselves, but to think like, okay, how can I make this more enjoyable for myself? So for example, there's some tasks that I really don't like to do, like washing the dishes, folding clothes, putting them away.
Right.
So I have some playlists that I listen to when I do those chores. So instead of thinking like, oh no, I have to do that chore, I turned it into like, oh, I get to listen to whatever the song is.
So an attitude change, really.
An attitude
to
change.
bring more joyfulness to whatever task you're doing.
And then it doesn't sap my energy as much.
Right.
Also.
Yes. And probably listening to the music probably energizes you.
Right.
And that is it for this episode of Let My People Eat. Remember to eat breakfast every day.
And that is it for this episode of Let My People Eat. Please visit our website at letmypeopleeat.com and leave us a comment. Get in touch at our email at podcast@letmypeopleeat.com or call us at 317-659-0004. Post on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook with the hashtag #LetMyPeopleEatPodcast. If you like this show, please make sure to leave us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. Tell your friends and family, and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts.
And please remember that although we are certified professionals, this is not a medical advice podcast. No content, posts, or comments should be interpreted as professional guidance. Always speak to your own health practitioner about making the right life changes for you.
Until next time, I am Jill Scharfman.
And I'm Andrea Moskowitz.
Thanks for joining us.
And go in good health.